This is a quick part 3 to my wood curing series of videos, and hopefully the last one. I have made a few additions to, or modifications to, my wood piles over the summer, and one was in 3 of the 4 piles to create an A-frame sort of setup, which has given me a lot of additional overhead space and also allowed the wood to, more room for the wood to condense and come down the sides. I had a comment from somebody who said that it's not important to provide overhead space for the tarp for your wood pile because the condensation takes place out of the end cuts. While that is true, when you have the wood packed like this, if you just put something like aluminum roofing over it, something like that, you do get condensation on the inner part. So I don't care what certain individuals say about the unimportance of giving overhead space to the wood pile. It really is absolutely essential, and I notice a difference when I have had overhead drying space or air space, ventilation, and when I haven't. Now over here I did pretty much the same thing. Everything has been lifted off up with a 2x4x16 and supported in the middle, and the same story over there. Another comment that I got that is interesting is somebody said they don't like the idea of tarps because of this seam on the top that can sometimes split the tarp in half. Yes, that is true, and that can happen, and especially if you sustain it, if you suspend them with rope, as I've done up here. The rope tends to cut into the tarp and make the chances of that happening even higher. But to avoid that problem, one only needs to run a line of duct tape down that center seam, and that problem kind of goes away. I have had these tarps for 3 years, and they still, I've only had one that split, and you can see that some of the areas are threadbare, a little bit threadbare here. The plastic coating, or whatever kind of coating that is, has kind of worn away. But if the angle of the tent is sharp enough, that won't make any difference at all. The water doesn't have time to sit there in order to penetrate. So the angle of your tent is something that should be considered as well. If the angle is not steep enough, water will have a tendency, or can have a tendency, to settle in those threadbare areas and seep through. But if you keep the angle sharp enough or steep enough, that really becomes a non-issue.